There are those who speak and those who listen. But every so often, someone shows up who does both with uncommon purpose and an open notebook in hand. Nicole Banks is a power connector, a woman whose network doesn't just span industries, it sparks movements. For more than 2 decades, she's solved problems others run from, built what others said couldn't be done, and highlighted the wisdom of giants, one page at a time. This is Nicole's Business Notebook, a curated circle of brilliance, a behind-the-scenes pass to the strategies, stories, and secrets shared by the experts she calls friends. It's not just a show, it's a blueprint for those bold enough to build. So settle in, because the notebook is open.
Hi, it's Nicole Banks with Nicole's Business Notebook, and we are here with Mariana Reeves. She is an expert photographer and brand strategist who helps entrepreneurs to not only get their headshots right, but get their personal impact right when it comes to their personal brand and what they look like and how they present themselves to the world. So thank you, Mariana, so much for coming on and spend some time with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be part of your podcast, and I'm excited for this interview.
Perfect. That's amazing. So let's get right into it. Photography.
Yes.
Definitely an art form in itself. What got you interested in?
Ever since I can remember, I've always had a camera. When I was little, I had, one of those digital cameras, 35 millimeter. And I used to carry it everywhere with me. And so it was just the fact of taking photos to be able to remember those moments. When we moved to the States, my mom left everything behind, and due to circumstances, we lost all our photos and memories that we had when I was a kid, when my mom was a kid. So all our family photos and treasures we no longer have. Wow. And so since that moment, I've been taking photos and making sure I archive them and save them. And so it's always been part of who I am. 2 years ago, I started doing it as a side job, and then earlier this year, I went full-time. Yay!
Awesome. So, that is something in itself, taking your hobby, to take it from a side hustle, to take it from a business. That's kind of the 3 stages. So, when you're going from just hobby to doing it as a side hustle, what were some things that you learned about turning your hobby into a business?
Well, that what I like, not everyone likes, is the first thing. The second thing is all the behind the scenes. So your website, your CRM, your taxes, all those things that make a business work that nobody thinks about. As a consumer, you go and buy something off the shelf, you go through the checkout, you pay for it, and it's yours. Mm-hmm. You don't think about all the logistics that are behind it, the marketing, and things like that, especially when you are selling a service. You have to brand yourself as, hey, I'm selling the service. This is the value that you're going to get. This is the ROI, especially for business owners. They're always asking, what's the ROI that I'm going to get on, spending this amount of money on photos? So you have to be able to explain that. And so I feel like that's been the hardest thing, is to be able to do all those extra things. Because I can take beautiful pictures. I can snap a picture, look at the angles, and you'll be like, wow. But all those other things that get to that final and that experience that I want to give my clients, it's all those things that I had to learn.
Yeah, that's a great point. So for somebody else who may be in that hobby to hustle, stage, if you could tell your younger self, when you were making that change, what advice would you give them?
The biggest thing would be to know where you want to go and be okay not going in that direction. When I started, I thought I wanted to do these birthday parties with all these backdrops and elaborate things. So I bought a whole bunch of props. Well, that's something that I wanted, but it's not something that my clients wanted. And so my clients started to guide me, hey, I want to have more of a polished look. I want to be in my office. I want to do this. And so I kind of shifted, and I was okay with it because I still am able to bring my artistic side and things like that. And so I think that's the biggest advice. Know where you want to go, but look for the signs that may pivot you in certain directions and be okay with that.
I love that. That's really great advice. I think adaptability and resilience are, kind of the, what you're talking, and kind of distilled down to. And I think that's, incredibly important for every business. Mm-hmm. So, as you took it from side hustle to now, making the jump to, do it full time, how was that transition for you?
Well, I had the opportunity. So I was working in a corporate role. And I had been in that corporate role for 10 years. I was really good at what I was doing. I was doing merchandising. I had done quality. And I was really good. And I was very comfortable where I was. Unfortunately, our company was doing cuts and things like that. The great thing is that they offered a severance package if you were to apply to take it. And so I talked to my husband, we sat down, we looked at the numbers, and he's like, go for it. So I had the support of my husband to be able to do that leap, 1. 2, I had the financial cushion, if you will, from my corporate job that they gave me this money to leave basically, and be able to start this. So it hasn't been easy because the sales aren't rolling in. They're not like, hey, let's get this, every day. While I am getting booked, it's not as easy as online makes it seem like. But having my family support, my husband especially, and being financially stable for a few months has given me the opportunity to go all in and not have to stress.
That's amazing. Yeah, sometimes it's about finding the opportunities in the setbacks, and pivoting and being open to having a goal, but where it leads you. So very common themes in what you're doing. That's amazing. So let's talk about photography for businesses. Everybody's got a phone these days. There's AI options out there. Why should they book with you?
Those two are amazing. The best camera is the one that you have in your hand. If you want to take a picture, I will teach you how to enhance your phone settings so you can have the best quality and you're able to upload it. With AI is amazing. You can change the color, you can change, take away flyaways, you can change your lip color. There's so many things that you can do with AI. So they're both great, nothing to take away from that. The beauty comes in when you have professional makeup, when you have a stylist, when you have a photographer that's posing you, maybe lean in this way, lean in this way. The lighting is so important. On my Instagram, I have, a few photos where they were taken the same day, minutes apart, with my phone. And you can see me one where I'm like, and then where I'm like, okay, I look like a supermodel. It all takes time and effort. The biggest thing on why you should invest in professional is because you have someone that's going to guide you. You have someone that knows what they're doing and they can help you strategize on where you want to put these images. So if it's for your website, if it's for your social media, if it's for a bulletin board, if it's for flyers and things like that, you want to have better quality because you can stretch that picture, you can remove the background, you can do so many other things than versus just doing it with your phone.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so, as, a photographer, why is it important for people to invest in photography and to use services like yours?
It's important because it creates credibility. If I show you a picture where there's dark spots, where the lighting is not good versus a polished one, your customers and clients are going to be like, oh, well, why is she worth this much? But she's not putting in the effort into hers. So there's a miscommunication there. So if you want to be paid what you're worth, then you have to invest what you're worth. And that's why it's important.
No, I love that. And, I really do think it's about, the judgment of how you look in a picture, how you look, in those different presentations. So, as a photographer working with business owners specifically, what's one thing that you could say to a business owner that they could take better pictures starting tomorrow?
One thing that they can do is, and this is uncomfortable. This is really uncomfortable because we are our worst critics, but knowing your angles, knowing what works for you, knowing what side you look better. I hear from different clients, they're like, oh, my left side is better. My right side is better. I don't know which one's my left and my right. But, for me, is this side. See, fun, serious, fun, serious. So it's knowing your angles. Also, how you want to be seen. So if you do a photo from a lower angle up, you're going to look taller and slimmer. If you want to go up, your features are going to be different. My biggest suggestion is, especially now that entrepreneurs go to so many events, networking and things like that, is invest in some kind of lighting for your phone. There's so many on Amazon that you can get for $15, $20. And then just pop it on the back. You turn that on. It gives you light. And you're able to take a selfie. You're able to take, pictures in a crowd. And that will immediately enhance your photo without having to do anything.
So for those that may not be the most comfortable looking in the mirror, how do they find their right side or their good side? Like this is for a personal, help me out here. Is it the right side? Is it the left side? How would you suggest somebody find what side is their side?
What side is their side? So if you're looking at different pictures, is just stand in the mirror and then just switch and be like, okay, I like it. Or take pictures as you're going. And then be like, okay, left, 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 right, right, up, down. Because you may like a side where your chin is slightly up, so it creates a silhouette more like this or more like this. So it's just playing with your phone and snapping those pictures and then just browsing through them and then you click.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little time with the cameras on the docket for this evening.
Yes.
So, we talk about, the imagery and the credibility that this brings. Is branding colors really important when it comes to their photography and the founder or, the sales team when you're trying to build this? Is that really an important part of things and should be kind of integral to the overall design, or is that really not something that entrepreneurs need to worry about as much?
Yes and no. So your fonts, your colors is an area of your branding. If you're doing marketing on social media and you want to publish something, you want to have that cohesiveness. So you're not bringing an orange when everything is pink or a red when everything is blue. Even though those colors combine or, they're complement each other, you want to keep everything cohesive. My suggestion is, I did a photo shoot. This gal, she's a stylist, and her brand colors are purple. So everything was very neutral for the backdrops. Everything was white, black, and then the clothes that she wore were purple. Or she had jeans and a white shirt with purple accessories. So those things come in play. So you're not all purple, but there's hints of it. So when you go and do a flyer, you are able to take those pieces and then enhance it with whatever copy you're writing.
Right.
So yes, it is important. It's not the all be all, because as entrepreneurs, we tend to change, every a year on our colors or shift things. So if you have accents of your colors, then you're able to expand on it.
I love that. We're talking about pictures and, that whole bit for people that are in that hobby to side hustle version. They might be taking pictures for the first time. Mm-hmm. And this, for a lot of people, it's not something that they're really comfortable with. So besides exposure therapy, how would you kind of get somebody to work on being photogenic, to be okay taking pictures of themselves, to remember to take a selfie and have this, visual branding? Like, what tips would you give them?
Start in the comfort of your home. I have one of my friends, she does an event once a month, and she has about 10 ladies come in, and then they snap pictures of each other, and then they create content off of that. So you can grab a friend, she can snap photos. We feel comfortable with our friends. So do that in the comfortability of your home with a friend. Like, hey, let's sit here. What does this look like? And be honest, because sometimes if I sit like this, you'll be like, that's a horrible angle. So start small and practice. The more that you do it, the better you're going to get. It's all about practice. Once you find your angle, you're looking your angle. Okay, so if I'm going to be in a group photo, I want to be on the far right so I can put my hand on my hip. And then if you just tilt your shoulders back, hand on your hip, it'll look aesthetically more pleasing. Or if you're left side, whatever, just know your angles and then start practicing those. When I first started, I was in my corporate job, and we used to have a lot of events, and we used to take pictures. And they would say, okay, now let's do the Marianne pose. And everybody would put their hand on their hip and smile. And so there's so many of those things, but you're able to consistently do it, start out small, and then people will pick up, and then you get good.
Amazing. So, obviously there's a lot of different types of photography.
Yes.
What are some of your favorites that you enjoy?
I love doing brand photos for businesses, having that creative of where these photos are going to be. The last few have been for their websites and all their branding, so they have the polished look so they can do whatever. I like doing those because it gives me that creative outlet. So I had the stylist that I was mentioning. We had a mannequin, and we dressed her up. We put little clothes on her. We had a little cart that she was able to place clothes on. And then there was one picture where she's like, ah! And it's hilarious. But it brought her personality out. And just her doing her thing with the mannequin and putting the accessories and those things. I love that because it brings my creative juices out, and it makes her happy, and then she's able to really do her craft, and she's able to showcase that with her clients.
I love that. And so when you're developing, this brand package, does it matter where the photos are going to go? Like, do you take pictures differently for socials in addition to like the website or marketing copy, sales brochures, like for the end product? Does that really inspire or inform how you take those pictures?
Yes. There's only two ways that you can take a picture. Either you can take it horizontal or vertical. So those are your only two. Depending on where you're going to place them is what you want to accomplish. The biggest thing is your negative space. So for example, if I take a picture of you right now, I take a picture of your head and, maybe above right here. that photo can only be used at the bottom of an ad or something. But if I take a longer picture where there's right here, I can use that for the backdrop of your website, and then I can put the title of your podcast, and it's going to have all the frame here, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's what's important. If we do a standing up one of you, and I crop half of your knees down, then I can't use that in certain places because it's going to look off and it's going to be like, she doesn't have any feet. So there's certain things that I have to pay attention to, is how you're going to be utilizing these photos. So a big thing is having the same picture in different ways. So maybe 3/4, half, and then a full length. That way, depending on where we're placing it, you're able to use those. And then if it's for the website, you want to have it longer so you have more negative space and you can put words in there.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think that's the benefit of working with, a professional like yourself, is they think of the big picture and where it goes and all of that. Especially new entrepreneurs are like, hey, you're lucky you got a picture. So, I think, having that, professional sort of viewpoint and experience is really helpful. So, besides the brands, are you doing like product photos? Like what other, avenues of business are you able to support with what you do?
I do brand product photos. I have done those. So those are your images that you can do from top, bottom, on the side, and you showcase all the products. I've done graduation photos. Those are fun. Kids. I did a few of my daughter's friends, and some of them were for it. Some of them were like, oh my God, I don't want a picture. So those are fun. They have a lot of excitement when it comes to it. So they're very energetic, and they want to do, let's do this and let's do this. And I've been doing a lot of event photography. I think that's the one that entrepreneurs enjoy because they're doing a lot of events. So I've been doing a lot of speakers, a lot of like the audience, and also doing headshots at different events. So those are some of the things that I've been focused on.
I love that. So event photography is obviously a very wide, because events are, as wide as they are tall, with what kind of events there are. So, are there any specific events that you prefer over others? I guess for the entrepreneurs out there listening and thinking like, maybe I could have her at my event. What type of support are you able to give at events?
I've done conferences, so that's the ones that I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of conferences where you have multiple speakers, and I take photos of the speaker on stage, making sure you get, one good photo so they can be like, I was speaking at this event, you can hire me, things like that. So those are some that I've been focused on. And then you have the audience interaction. You have some of the guests are like, oh, let's take a picture. And so you have the group pictures and things like that. Those are the ones that I've been doing.
I love that. And it seems that they're all a little different, I think that you have that creative, even with it being, events and, with that. So I think that's amazing. So I'd love to kind of circle back to, corporate to entrepreneurship, and that is, a frequent thing for a lot of entrepreneurs. So was it jarring or shocking? I mean, you were able to kind of dip your toe into it, but it's a completely different animal. So can you talk about your experience of being corporate and then entrepreneurship?
Yes. So being from the corporate, I had a boss. I had someone that's like, you have to get these tasks done. This is where we're going. And I was kind of following their vision. I had, shout out to my old boss.
Yeah.
She gave me a lot of freedom and creativity in my role. But we had a task. So her boss told her what we needed to do, and then she told me what. It all cascaded down. Here, I don't have that. And now I partner with other entrepreneurs. So I started doing collaboration. So now it's kind of like, here's my idea, here's your idea, let's combine it. But it all falls on me.
Is that a blessing or a curse?
I'm still trying to figure that out. Because if I don't do something, then it falls on me. There's, I don't have, my team that I had before. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be off. So my father-in-law passed away about a week ago, and it has hit our family really hard. And we took a few days off. He passed away Saturday. I had an event Tuesday and Wednesday, so I had to do those photos. Usually for events, they want to have them as quickly as possible, less than a week, just because the momentum on social media is really fast, right? So I was like, I am drowning here. It's going to take a couple more days. And so if I had a team, then somebody would be able to be like, hey, I got you, girl. And be able to be like, pick up that slack, right? But unfortunately, I had to stay up till 2 a.m. to finish those photos because they need them. Right. So that's the drawback from being in corporate and then being entrepreneurs, that you have to do that. Yeah. You have to stay. So
yeah, it's on you, and that solopreneur hustle is its own beast. So yeah, I commend you for getting it done. With the loss, and so sorry, obviously, for you and Chris. For that, like, what about, being an entrepreneur and a mom? Like, not only are you trying to do all that, but for other moms out there, what advice would you give for mom entrepreneurs?
Bring them along. My daughter's 14, and I have brought her to different places with me. She went to the Empower and Elevate conference. She had her moments where she's like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And then she's like, Mom, when are we leaving? This is boring. And then she's like, oh my God, I see Catherine and I see my friend. And just being in that, I think it helps so they understand what you're doing. Yeah. So they see. And while she says that she doesn't want to do photography because of me, I feel like there's a little bit of me that she wants to do photography. Yep, so that makes me proud. Yeah. But I'm showing her that you can do anything you put your mind to. You can't do everything, but you can do anything you want. So I think that's what I want to show her.
I love that. And being that example and being that person that's there, bringing her along, having her meet other great, women entrepreneurs, it's amazing. So yeah, I think that's great advice. So last tip for entrepreneurs in the photography brain of Marianne Reeves, what mic drop moment can we end with?
Mic drop moment. Oh.
No pressure.
Ooh, no pressure. Let's see. Use your phone camera for as much as you need. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable of taking photos, taking videos, because people buy from people they like and trust and they know. So the more that you put yourself out there, the more that you're going to be known. The best camera is the one that you have in your hand, like I already said. And it's really to be okay being in front of the camera. And it doesn't have to be perfect. There's another gal, her name is Sybil, and she says, put a filter on. Put that filter on. If you don't have makeup, put the filter on. Yep. AI. Mm-hmm. So is just do it, take the photo, and if you need help, reach out to a professional, and I'll be more than happy to help and guide you through it.
I love that. Thank you so much, Marianne, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Despite, the challenges you've had personally, and thank you for, making the time for us. So, your insights are great. Getting that camera out there. I'm looking at my angles tonight. I will
Yes.
get back to you with my idea, and then you can tell me if I was right. And then, we'll definitely go from there. So, yeah, for any photography needs, reach out to Marianne. She is wonderful on the West Side, doing a lot of networking and other things too. So, a great resource here in the greater Phoenix Valley and beyond. Thanks again for joining in to Nicole's Business Notebook, where we're meeting entrepreneurs from the greater Phoenix Valley and beyond and sharing the tips and tricks to make us all do better business. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Nicole's Business Notebook. Subscribe and follow for more tips, insider secrets, and hard-earned wisdom so that we can all do better business together. See you next time.